You smell that? Because that's the smell of an empty kitchen with no fucking Thanksgiving food being prepared yet. And I'm already kind of getting a little bit annoyed. All right, so let's talk about Thanksgiving, kind of like some problems, some good things, whatever it may be, just a holiday just to begin with, right? So I love Thanksgiving, right? And I'm sure you love Thanksgiving too. It's a time for you to pretty much gain 16 pounds within a week and say that, hey, it's the holiday season. It's okay. So let's talk about Thanksgiving, as I said, all right? So I love Thanksgiving because it gives you time to kind of celebrate with your family, right? It gives you a little bit of excuse. Because let's be real here, 365 days in a year, there's a good chance that most of those days you probably don't like to spend time with your family because either they're annoying, whatever it may be, they kind of piss you off, whatever. But for me, just in general, that tends to kind of happen for a bit. I just try to, do my own thing. But when it comes to Thanksgiving, I treat it very seriously. When it comes to family events, I tell everybody to go to the table. I carve the turkey because I'm the man of the house, whatever it may be. But I tell everybody to go to the table. We watch whatever on TV. Everybody gathers around. We watch the parade. We watch Marshall Wooden Soldier, whatever it is. We watch The Godfather because, believe it or not, even though they're popping people's heads off and putting horses in people's beds, The Godfather is pretty much a family movie for the most part, or even Goodfellas for the most part, right? That's just my thought. To begin with. Now, like I said, I like hanging around with my family on Thanksgiving because, obviously it's a very good thing. Even though sometimes I feel like whenever it comes to like giving thanks, I do feel like that tends to be kind of cringeworthy. And I don't know if that's with everybody's family, but there are some people in my family that take giving thanks very seriously, and therefore it's very cringeworthy. You kind of feel like you're being called up in like school. You'd be like, all right, Chris, what are you thankful for? You'd be like, what? Come back to me. Water, I guess. But that's the thing. You just kind of feel like you're being called up a little bit just to begin with. Now, the next thing you kind of just talk about is just diets, right? Look, diets is very hard. It's very hard to kind of stay in shape. I know that because, believe it or not, I was kind of a little bit of a big guy before. And that's like you can really tell if you're kind of like a fat person as a kid or whatever it may be. If somebody calls you husky, motherfucker, you're fat. That's just a simple case. If somebody calls you husky, let's be real, they're just trying to be nice to you. You're just a fat person. Let's be real here. If you're going to get in shape, I recommend you probably get in shape from January to pretty much getting ready for, Thanksgiving. Because if you're going to get, in a diet from like 2 weeks before Thanksgiving or even a month before Thanksgiving onward, but that's just going to be a chaotic because then you got Thanksgiving. So everything you kind of worked up to Thanksgiving is pretty much gone. Then you got Christmas. Then everything you worked on from after Thanksgiving is pretty much gone. So therefore, you got to start a diet pretty much from January to like November. And that's the best time to kind of like stay on track. Now, the best way to pretty much, kind of like stay in shape for the most part very quickly, obviously you could ditch carbs, whatever it may be. But if you're coming to a Thanksgiving dinner, particularly if you're coming to this place, if you're coming here with like a salad bowl, and you're telling me that you're fucking going to be on a diet, get the hell out of my face and just walk the other way because I don't even want to see you. Because that's just going to make everybody else feel like you're shit by eating a salad. You're eating a salad and everybody else is eating pounds of macaroni. Like, get out of here, you prick. But that's just my overall thought. Now, when it comes to like other things, obviously, when you're eating a whole bunch of food, you pretty much have to just kind of like let loose. You've got to get your best sweatpants on Thanksgiving because let's be real, you're going to be eating an abnormal amount of food to the point where your buttons are going to be popping off of your Ariel pastel jeans or whatever the kids are wearing these days, right? That's just my overall thought. Now, for me, just in general, I feel as if when you try to kind of eat a lot, that's one thing because you tend to kind of want to eat constantly, and then by the time you know it, you be like, I can't eat anymore, but then you realize, oh, did mama make a world's famous chocolate cake? Maybe I could have a piece, and then you start to kind of like add up certain shit. You'd be like, well, maybe I had a little bit of protein here, a little bit of carbs here. Well, I didn't have too much sugar there. Maybe I could have just maybe a smidgen amount of frosting a little bit, could add a little bit of my sugar intake up. Then it just starts to become ridiculous. And then by the time you know it, you get sluggish, you get sleepy. But then again, maybe your girlfriend came over. Maybe you wanted to have sex. And that's another problem. Sex on Thanksgiving is fucking miserable. It's miserable. Because let's be real here. If you have tons and tons of food inside of your stomach, so does your chick, you kind of having sex, it's going to be probably like two sumo wrestlers pretty much like stroking each other off. It's probably just slow as fuck. And it's just very uncomfortable. And it's very just like borderline bad to just look at. And that's just the case. You're probably not going to really do anything flexible. You're probably just going to be like moving around and just kind of like flopping to the point where it just feels like, a couple of pancakes hitting like the wall. It's just a big slap just to begin with. But that's just my overall thought on, sex on Thanksgiving. Now, obviously, once you go to sleep, then there's no time to really sleep. Why? Because by the time you sleep, you got to wake your ass up because your parents or whoever it may be say, hey, guess what? We got to get the early bird gets the worm. You know what that's saying? Because you got to go to Black Friday You got to do all this. You got to, get sales. You got to get ran over by a couple of women with high-end heels. And then they all got to get their latest, coupons and gift cards from all the latest stores that are giving them out for all these Black Friday deals. Black Friday is a pretty fun day, though, for the most part. It's very chaotic, but it's also very cool. Maybe I might do a video on Black Friday. Who knows? But let's talk about a couple of other things. It's just that when it comes to family members kind of coming over, the worst type of family members tend to pretty much be the ones that bring over like a soda, right? And the soda that they're bringing over is essentially, and we tell everybody sometimes to like bring a meal or something to add to the table. And that person that only brings a soda pretty much brings a soda, and he only brings a soda for himself, just to drink. And he constantly wants more of everybody else's food that they pretty much brought over. Maybe you know somebody like that, maybe you don't. Either way, if you don't, then I congratulate you. But Thanksgiving is great, though. Like I said, Thanksgiving is a very fun time. It's heartfelt. You kind of wrap up the year. In a way, Thanksgiving is a little bit more special than Christmas to me, a little bit. But obviously, there's a lot of things that kind of come into play for Thanksgiving to begin with. But obviously, for Thanksgiving, I love watching parade. As I said, it's a household thing. And I don't know if anybody else does it, but, it is what it is. Obviously it sucks sometimes when your mother's like making Thanksgiving food and it takes her about 7 o'clock to make the food and you're constantly keep on shoving fucking butter rolls into your stomach because you're trying to save your fucking time until the big meals come later on. But overall, Thanksgiving tends to be quite fun, and I enjoy Thanksgiving a lot. I don't know if anybody else does, if you people are watching this, but if you do, let me know what is your worst Thanksgiving story just to begin with. Also for, having sex on Thanksgiving, if you're really full, you and your girlfriend, whatever it may be, there's a good chance you're probably going to throw up on each other. So if she's giving you a blowjob and you're probably fucking her face real good, it's a good chance she's probably going to throw up all that macaroni and collard greens on your dick. So, there's a good chance you might not want to do that. But then again, that's just my unqualified advice. And that's just me. Comment, subscribe, and like. I'm Chris Smith, and I'm signing out. That just was a big old fuck up. But I'm Chris Smith, and I'm signing out. And if you're watching this, happy Thanksgiving to all.